Good morning, children. Welcome back. Okay, so we were dealing with Nile, the boon of God, Egyptian civilization. We learned what was Egyptian civilization and their trade, their commerce, and their agriculture, and their art and horticulture. Okay, and we learned the four societal or social groups, isn't it? After that, we learnt about how they bury the dead people or the highest, like they have divided pyramids, sphinx, isn't temples, what are the famous in that we have learned. So next we will learn their language, how they were writing. Now you write English, you write Kannada, you write Sanskrit, you write many languages, isn't it? So the way you write, you know how to write. If you mix ABOUT, about, we read it as about. Janaru, we read it Janaru, means people. So we know the language, so it is becomes very easy for us to read and write whatever we learn. So now there is a particular language which Egyptian people were following. What is that language? How did they learn? And what are the pros and cons of that language we are going to learn in this class. So I would like everyone to open the page number 35, children. Page number 35, and the second point you have to open and read with me. Isn't it? The hieroglyphic script. Name of the script is hieroglyphic script. The Egyptians also knew the art of writing. The script is called hieroglyphic script or the sacred writing. Sacred means very peaceful, pure and godly writing. They thought their script was godly because it was used by priest. Priest means pujarigalu. Hieroglyphic script was deciphered by Champollion, who was a great French decipher. It is type of picture writing. It is like a science, you know, conventional science. Like if you make like this is a house, you make a triangle, means there is a triangle, like that. Pictographic means pictures will depict the language, like that the language was. So open your next page, that is page number 36. At first the Egyptians wrote on stones, walls and clay tablets. Later on they made a sort of paper from the reeds and leaves of a tree called papyrus. The papyrus underline, which means paper nowadays. Okay, the word is derived from paper. Papyrus. Writing in Egypt was a special art. Much of the hieroglyphic writing was done very beautifully and artistically. The writers were held in high esteem in society and by the kings. Okay, they kept it very high and the writers were held very esteemed, means the one who writes this language was given more importance in Egyptian society. Next, the contribution of this language. What did this language contribute to the Egyptian society? What contribution they made? The Egyptian made significant contribution to the growth of knowledge. They developed a solar calendar which was more accurate than the lunar calendar given by the Babylonians. Okay, we know that, we learned that Babylonians also gave the solar calendar, but what the calendar these Egyptian gave, solar calendar, was very famous, very accurate. Solar calendar means seeing the sun and calculating the times and days. And next what they gave? They gave the arithmetic equations or arithmetic signs like triangle, rectangle, that all. And the once the people are dead, the royal people are dead, they made the tombs in a triangle shape and they gave more importance for it. And third, they gave the decimals, you count, no, tens, hundreds, okay, and units, tens, hundred, thousand, 10,000, lakh, like they gave this up to thousands. Okay, like this they were very much sharp, very much knowing what arithmetical means, and they built these all architectures, these sculptures in these shapes. Okay, next, going to the next civilization is Huangho civilization. Which civilization? Huangho civilization. Just open your that same page, next paragraph. You read with me, then I'll make you understand. Located in East Asia, China witnessed the rise of great civilization nearly 4,500 years ago. The Chinese civilization is also a river valley civilization like other civilizations. The civilization flourished in the river basin of three main rivers in China, the Huanghe in the north, the Yangtze Kiang in the center of the and the Sikiang in the south. Fertile land and a temperate climate made this valley an ideal place for settlement. Chinese civilization developed during the Shang dynasty. So this dynasty was also considered to the one of the oldest dynasty and which was started 4500 years ago. And this, you know that all the three civilization we learned that whatever civilization has taken place or has been improved or it went to a peak of that civilization is because of the river basin or the river rivulets or the banks of river. They play very important role. So in China, why the China civilization is important? Because there are the three rivers. Okay, one is Huanghe, the river in the Huanghe river in the north and the Yangtze Kiang in the center of the China and Sikiang in the south. Okay, these north, center and south. These three rivers play the very important role in China to develop this civilization. Okay, which rivers? Huanghe in north and second one is Yangtze Kiang in the center of the China and the last south side Sikiang. These three you just underline and try to pronounce these because we are very much new to this pronunciation. Okay, so the Huanghe name comes from the word China. Okay, let us read about the people and the society of Huanghe civilization. The society in China was divided into four classes children. The emperor and the king and his family held the top position. The nobles and scholars, merchants, artisans, craftsmen and the cultivator formed the other classes. Below the ruling family, the lowest in the rank and the position in the society were the slaves. They led a miserable life. They were sometimes buried alive along with the master so that they could serve him even after the latter's death. The soldiers were the class part, they were held in a high esteem by people. People were even afraid of the soldiers. This shows that defense was given the high importance in the Chinese civilization. So, in the society or where they were living, if you take the society wise, in the Huanghe civilization, which was 4,500 year old history we have. So in this civilization, the top priority was given to the king's family and the priest family, and the second comes the scholars or merchants or artisans. They were held the second place, means the pottery people or making the stone sculptures, and those people were the people of second, and the next they gave for the slaves as a third position. Slaves held the third position, and like this they divided their three social communities, and the wars are important, and so warriors or the soldiers becomes too much important in that civilization because soldiers who protect the entire society, they consider that soldiers should be given the esteemed position in the society, and since that time they were giving more importance for the soldiers of that particular dynasty or that particular civilization. They were scared of soldiers, isn't it? We know that our soldiers, we respect them. Army Day we celebrate, Navy Day, Air Force Day, isn't it? In India. So same way, that time they were not celebrating the days, but they were giving the respect, esteemed respect, means very high respect was given to these people. Next come their occupation and craft. Why they are so famous? Agriculture was the main occupation of the Chinese people. Agriculture was helped greatly due to the existence of loess, a very fine and exceptionally fertile soil carried by the rivers through the central plain, making it one of the finest lands for agriculture in the world. In some less fertile areas, there were used manure and increased productivity of crops. They had an excellent canal system to control floods. Wheat, rice, millet, soybean, and tea were the main crops of Chinese civilization. Carpentry and woodwork were other occupations. Chinese carpenters were famous, and cabinet making, timber work in palaces, ivory work on woods, etc. Bronze casting became a large scale business under the Song dynasty. Chinese bronzes were the product of an advanced technology. Silk production and silk industry was also an occupation of Chinese people. They bred silkworms and made silk out of the cocoons. China became the world center of silk production. They exported silk to other countries through the silk routes. As the Chinese developed paper, the making of paper became another important occupation of people during this period. Chinese became very famous in their occupation and crafts. Occupation means what they yield, what they agriculture products. They soya bean, wheat, these all their products, barley and all. But the main production or the main artistic or art and craft what they did during that time was timber work. Timber means they making some art on the wood, ivory, like walls, making the designs on the walls. This was very much famous. And bronze casting means they made some idols, they made some decorative items made up of bronze. And in the industry of silk industry, they were the first and they are the leading till now in the silk industry. They produce the highest silk in the whole world. Why their productivity was so mean they gave more importance for breeding this silk. They breeded the cocoons and they removed the silk, and during that period of time China became the center place for production of the silk, and they give more importance for this silk. And they were not only behind this woodwork, craft working, or only behind the silk, but their cultivations, okay, their crops also played very important role, because I told you China or the Huanghu civilization consists three rivers. Okay, the north river also came and met in the center, and the south river also. The river brought all the manure or the fertile soil to that particular center of that China, and the yield of the crop was more in that place, because the north Congo river, whenever during the rainy season the floods came, it brought the fertile soil, and for this fertile soil they called loess. Loess is a fertile soil which came from the top layer soil which was collected near the banks of river. Next comes their architecture. What was famous in the architecture? The Chinese had developed an excellent sense of architecture work. One of the best specimens of their achievements in this field is the Great Wall of China. It is one of the seven wonders, isn't it? It is considered like Taj Mahal is also one of the seven wonders. We have seven wonders in the world, and this is also one among them, which is considered as one of the seven wonders of the world. It was built in the 3rd century BC to ward of the attack from the Tartars. Emperor Shi Huangdi built this wall as a defense strategy. This great wall starts from the eastern sea, runs across northern and western frontiers of China and reaches Tibet. Thus, it runs over deserts, mountains, plains. It is said that thousands of workers and slaves took 7 years to complete this structure. The significant pieces of Chinese architecture are the stupa type temples called the pagodas. Inside of a pagoda has a beautiful paintings drawn on the walls. So architecture at this era was to the peak. Means the Great Wall of China was built in 3rd century, and it was built from which runs from the Tibet, and it reaches several kilometers, and it took 7 years, 7 long years to build that Great Wall of China. So many slaves means I told you, the people who are bought in the war, those who are lost the war, those from the other side or other places where they have lost those surrendered warriors are called as the slaves. Slaves have taken 7 years, 7 long years for constructing this Great Wall of China, which is one of the 7 wonders. It is considered to be the one of the, and there are very famous stupas which are called pagodas. Okay, next page children. Okay, Marco Polo, a trader from Venice in Italy, visited China during the time of Kublai Khan, a Mongol ruler. He wrote glowing accounts of the highly civilized country. The Mongols invaded and ruled China for a while. They were nomads who lived in the great plains of Central Asia. They were crucial race which made them very unpopular. They were overthrown by the 1300s. The Chinese script is written in upward and downward stroke. They wrote on a silk cloth and bamboo strips. The color paints, their script looked like paintings. So there was a person called Marco Polo who has written in his book many things about Chinese people. He wrote that they have written from upward and downward. They're writing like how we write straight, no? They have written from upward and downward, isn't it? Trade and commerce of China during that period. The Chinese had developed trade relations with countries like Egypt, Greece, Rome, Iran, India and other on the Mediterranean Sea. The main items they exported were tea, silk products. China were pottery and paper. They were very good in the trade and commerce, and they have imported the products like silk and silk products. Okay, the main products which they exported means they were sending to the other countries. So at that time during Huanggo civilization also the trade was in the place. Now when lockdown time you have seen that America has exported generic medicine from India. Okay, they were not so established as it is established and the very biggest country in the world, but still many countries like Australia, America and other small countries also have exported medicine from India, and because the Indian government thought that these generic medicines are very important before corona, last year only he has given a permission for many medicines because we were getting the raw material from China to prepare this generic medicine. We were totally dependent upon this country for some medicines. Okay, for example painkiller medicine and all these were bought from China before last year, but now last year some 65 crores or more than that rupees were spent on building this type of generic medicine places wherein we are now producing not only for India, it is sufficient not only for India, we are producing in a large amount that we are able to send it for other countries also. So in during that period also Chinese were exporting the silk and silk made products. So religious belief, what they believed, how they believed in God. In Chinese religion is the one of the oldest forms of religion. Evidence of burial practices has been dated as early as 5000 BC. Archaeological evidence from Neolithic China shows a remarkable amount of care and ritual with regard to burial practices. Characteristics of the 5th millennium BC burial practices include segregation of the dead into the what appears to be kingship groupings, graveside ritual offerings of liquids, pig skulls and pig jaws. The Chinese were worshippers of nature god like people of other river valleys. They regarded the king of China as son of the heaven god called Shangli. Okay, so they are religious, very much believing like how other civilizations were believing in sun god. So they also believed in God and they believed on the atmosphere and they thought that their king was a Shanghai. They gave the name of the king as Shanghai, who has come from the directly from God's place and he is blessed. So they were believing in such things. Okay, the next one comes very famous personality, that is Confucius. Confucius was one of the greatest philosophers of China and the world. He is considered to be the one of the greatest. He lived during the 551 BC to 479 BC. His teachings have a universal appeal. These are popular all over the world. The philosophy and religion advocated by Confucius is known as the Confucian or Confucianism. His main teachings may be summed up briefly as under. Confucius believed in humility towards all. He taught, do unto others and you wish others to do unto you. He taught that admission of one's error is a great virtue. He who errs and does not admit errs twice was his principle. He taught his followers to respect their elders and ancestors. So Confucius was a very great person during this era, that is 551 BC. You have to minus, means 479 he was there existing, and he was survived till 551. He was from a China. He was a very great philosopher. He believed in God and he believed in unity. He said that if you commit a mistake, you have to accept that mistake. Okay, I said you so many times that you steal some pen or pencil from your friend, then you have to accept it that you have done the mistake. You cannot say that no, I have not done any mistake and I will not take it. So anytime anyone can do the mistake, and the one who accepts the mistake will be the great person. So he said that in his teachings. He becomes famous for his teaching, and he was a very much strong principled person in these teachings. Okay, and lastly, last point is science and technology. What science and technology was in that period? The Chinese made a remarkable advancement in astronomy. They counted that there are 365 days and 12 months in a year. They devised a big astronomical clock. They used lunar and solar calendars. They could also predict eclipse. They also developed a system to keep record of the weather, rainfall, droughts, floods, etc. The Chinese invented the seismograph. By using it, they could predict earthquakes and keep their record. Other inventions made by Chinese included the mariner's compass, the umbrella, paper and gunpowder. They also the first to invent writing ink. They introduced banking and paper currency first among all. See how these Chinese were so famous. Till now they are very famous. They are not only famous for corona, that is COVID K, COVID-19, but they were famous for their making of ink. They were first of the people who made the ink and paper to the whole world, and they come to a conclusion that in a year 365 days are there, 12 months are there, like that. They were very much good in their calculation. Astronomy means studying of the stars and all the solar system. They were very much good in that. Okay, so they were very great mathematicians, you can say artisans, because they built the great what you can say wall of China and pagodas. They built stupas, big stupas, and they were the first to do this astronomy 365 days, and the calendar, solar calendar, and the ink and the paper. They were the first to introduce the paper for the whole world. Okay, children. Okay, so I told you there is a word called seismograph. Seismograph means it is a mechanism, or it is a machine which is detects the Richter scale. Like earthquake happens, everyone know there is a, when earth shakes, we say it as a earthquake. When earthquake happens, there is some instrument which detects the earthquake. Okay, when if earthquake happens, what is the scale, like how much depth or how much. Now 4 o'clock, we know that 4 o'clock by when our watch shows us 4 o'clock. Same way they have introduced a seismographic machine which depicts the earthquake. So they were very much what you can say, very clever people, Chinese people. During that period of time only they have invented these all machineries. So when we recap this second lesson, there are important points which just note down. Mesopotamian civilization arose in the 5000 BC. Hammurabi was a great king and king of Mesopotamians. He ruled during the 2067 BC to 2025 BC. One of his greatest achievements was his code of law. He was very much particular in his law. The Mesopotamians were the first to develop the art of writing in the world. In the whole world, they were the first to write the writing skill. The civilization of Egypt developed during 2000 BC, that is 3000. And during the Middle Kingdom, that is 2000 BC to before 1750 BC, the ancient Egyptian worshipped many, means 2200 gods and goddesses. The Egyptian had achieved a very high standard in the fields of art, architecture, sculpture, and this can be known as pyramid, Phoenix and temples. The Confucius was one of the greatest philosopher of China. He is the last person who was very much, he has written about all the other civilizations also, and he has given the world the basic thoughts how to be a person. So he was considered to be the greatest philosopher of Chinese civilization. So there are two questions for this lesson, this second part of the lesson, which you need to write in your class homework book, children, not in classwork. I'll be sending you the notes, exercise note tomorrow, so you can copy that. So you write in homework book this today. Okay, the first question is write about Confucius, what he was and from where he was and which era he was alive. You have to write about Confucius. And the second is write the science and technology used by Chinese civilization. Okay, there are many technologies, seismograph, invention of paper, invention of ink, isn't it? They have given many things to the world, solar calendar, days. So this all you have to write in your homework book. Okay, thank you children. Thank you for watching me.